Good evening, everybody. Welcome to what seems like a rainy day and rainy evening across the state of New Jersey. But if you had a tower garden and it was indoors, you could still do your gardening this evening without getting too wet. I am really happy to welcome everybody to the Alliance for New Jersey Environmental Education Spring Zoom Forum Series. It's so nice to say that we're in the season of spring, moving forward. And this week, really fortunate to have a presentation about tower gardens by Juice Plus. Jen Sestok, who is with Juice Plus and Tower Gardens, is going to tell us more about it. But I do want to say, Jen is more than just a friend of ANJEE. Jen and I have been friends since, what were we saying, probably around 7th grade.
Oh, great, at least.
So yeah, it's so amazing. We actually reconnected with one another, although we've kept in touch over the years, but because of the tower gardens. I was looking at all different aeroponic and hydroponic systems, not just as an educator, but also something for my own home. And sure enough, you know, just as happenstance always has it, and the universe stepped in, and Jen happened to be doing this, and I got in touch with her. And sure enough, I too am now the proud owner of a tower garden. But I do also want to say that there is no money being exchanged. Jen does not benefit. I do not benefit, right? I do not benefit from any of this other than the Alliance for New Jersey Environmental Education members really get to benefit from your wisdom, your experience, and of course that of Chris Ann and Danielle, who we're also going to hear from this evening. So on that note, I do want to say welcome, Jen, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me share my screen. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Yes? And you can hear me?
Yep.
All right. Wonderful. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Tower Garden Talk. It is such an honor to be here today as part of the ANJEE Spring Forum. My name is Jennifer Sestok. My co-hosts today are Jolena Stewart and Chris Ann Sapkowski. And to give you a little background on me, I am a wife and mom of an amazing 10-year-old daughter, soon to be 11. My background is in physical therapy. I have my bachelor's degree in exercise science and my master's degree in physical therapy. And as a therapist, I always knew the importance of good nutrition to protect the body. But I got to experience this firsthand after my daughter was born with a rare lung disease and seizure disorder. Proper nutrition, including growing our own food, has changed the picture of my daughter's health. I partnered with Tower Gardens by Juice Plus in 2017 as a way to help educate and offer communities a clean and safe way to source their own food and improve their nutrition. So here is my contact information in case anyone needs to reach out to me. You can save it. Or take a photo of it. I can also put it in the chat if anyone needs to reach out to me or has any additional questions after the talk, and I'll put it back up at the end as well. This is me on the day my tower garden arrived. And when I built it, I was very excited. I got it back in 2018, so I've been growing for 3 years. So tower garden, what is a tower garden? It is a vertical aeroponic growing system, which allows you to grow your own fresh produce, nutrient-rich, without soil all year long, both indoors and outdoors. This is Tim Blank. He is the co-founder and chief technology officer for the Tower Garden Company, and his wife, Jessica, is also a co-founder. Tim was actually the chief horticulturist for the Epcot land exhibit, and he is considered one of the world's leading authorities in aeroponic gardening. The Blanks are super conscious of where their food comes from, and they feel the only way to have control over their own food supply is to grow it themselves. So what is aeroponics? It's an advanced form of hydroponics. So it's the process of growing plants in an air or mist environment without the use of soil. It is the most effective and efficient way to provide plants with the necessary nutrients that they need, as well as hydration and oxygenation. It actually uses a proprietary blend of natural earth minerals, which are packed full of nutrients essential to healthy plant development. So these nutrients are mixed with fresh, clean water in the bottom reservoir, and they're pumped to the top of the tower and then showered down onto the roots. And the result of this is greater nutrient uptake and superior growth for a wide range of plants. Aeroponics grows 30% more yield and 3 times faster than traditional gardening. It also uses 98% less water and up to 90% less space than traditional gardening. It is not only safe, but it's also environmentally friendly, where you can grow clean, pesticide-free produce. There's actually a study from the University of Mississippi back in 2014. It compared the antioxidant properties and product yield of crops that were grown in aeroponic growing systems like the tower versus nutrient-dense soil. And the study showed higher product yield in the tower garden and comparable antioxidant properties. So they were just as nutrient-dense, the two of them, as compared to nutrient-dense soil. I absolutely love this picture. This is how bountiful the harvest can be. Look at that kale. Is that just amazing? So now I'm going to show you a quick video on how tower gardens work so you can visualize it better.
Tower Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better-tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your tower garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
Oops, sorry about that. I hope that was helpful. So Tower Gardens makes gardening easier. No gardening experience or green thumb is necessary. I do not have a green thumb. My husband can attest to that. I have limited time, and as a busy working mom, my husband thought I was crazy for purchasing a tower because I've basically killed every plant I've ever owned. But with the tower, even without knowing what I was doing, I was able to grow plants on my first try because the tower garden practically takes care of itself. Growing is convenient and easy, and this makes me, as a busy working mom, successful and very happy. It's self-watering on a timer, so it automatically delivers water and nutrients to the plants. For my family, this has allowed us to travel for a weekend without someone needing to tend to our garden. And if we do leave for a week or more, we'll have someone check on the garden periodically, especially if the tower is outdoors and it's particularly hot, but it does not need to be tended to daily like a soil garden. There's no weeding, tilting, bending, or getting dirty. And this is especially helpful for anyone with injuries or who's unable to bend or kneel. Some people I know have actually had to give up gardening for this very reason, so towers are a great option for them. There's really little maintenance involved other than checking the pH periodically of the water, filling the reservoir with water and nutrients, and harvesting the plants. The towers are also less climate sensitive and more resilient. In the picture above, you can see a seedling in a soilless medium called rock wool. This rock wool is providing the plant roots with oxygen and consistent moisture, encouraging rapid and healthy growth. So seeds are planted in the rock wool, and once the seedling is approximately 2 inches tall, like in the picture shown, it's placed just pop right in that tower slot. The roots then continue to grow, and they're suspended in air in the middle column. And really, the tower takes care of itself after that. So Tower Garden also conducted its own informal study on the benefits of aeroponics versus soil. So some of the responses, we've talked about this already a little bit, but just to reiterate, no digging, no weeding, takes up much less room, low maintenance, veggies grow bigger, stronger, and faster than in the ground. I don't have time, a green thumb, or good soil to grow conventionally. The Tower Garden makes it possible for me to grow great tasting, nutrient-dense produce indoors or out all year round with little effort. I live in an apartment. It's the only practical way for me to grow my veggies. So you can see the common theme here that it's easier, it's less space required, less water, less maintenance. So there are two types of towers, the Flex and the Home, built with the same technology NASA uses, believe it or not. So towers are built to be endurance units. They're made to last. And it's made from UV stabilized, BPA-free, food-grade plastic. And it's opaque, which keeps light out, and this inhibits algae growth. And this keeps the plants happy and gives your tower a longer life. So this is the Tower Garden Flex, and it's actually shown outdoors. It looks like an indoor picture, but it's actually outside in that picture. This can be used for indoor or outdoor growing, the Flex. It arrives at your doorstep with everything you need to grow. All you need is a fresh water supply and a power outlet. And in the picture above, you see the basic unit, like I said, outside. There are a few ancillary products you can add onto this base unit, like a dolly to make it portable, or a grow cage to support larger vine plants. The reservoir holds 20 gallons of water and requires less than 3 square feet of space, or approximately 3 square feet of space. It stands 62 inches tall and holds 20 plants. But you can also put an extension on top where the tower would be about 81 inches tall and hold up to 28 plants. So to grow indoors, you would just bring it inside and add the LED grow lights, which are highly energy efficient. So this is my family's Tower Garden Flex. On the left, you see my daughter harvesting some greens from the tower in the initial stages of growth. And on the right, you can see the tower in full effect with all the vine ripened plants growing. We typically keep the tower outdoors from May to October. And once the first frost sets in, we clean it, move it indoors for winter growing with the grow lights. Here are some of the beautiful vine ripened fruits and vegetables we grew this year: tomatoes, orange pepper, cucumber, and watermelon. These are some photos showing how my family incorporates fresh tower produce into our meals. So on the top left, we have a black bean lettuce wrap. Below that is a weekend meal prep with salads in a jar using greens, cucumbers, and peppers from my tower. On the top right is a fresh arugula salad. And below that's an arugula soup I made. So what can you grow in a Tower Garden Flex? So you can grow fruits, vegetables, herbs, and flowers. Pretty much anything but root vegetables or produce that grows from trees. Some examples are listed here are varieties of lettuce, kale, beans, basil, cilantro, edamame, eggplant, tomatoes, squash, dill, strawberries, peas. Here's a picture of Chef John Mooney, who is the owner of Bell Book and Candle Restaurant in New York City. He uses a Tower Garden Flex to grow all of his restaurant's produce right there on the rooftop. It's pretty cool. Here's another example of some of the fruits, vegetables, herbs, and flowers you can grow on the Flex and where you tend to position the plants. Typically, you do herbs on top, greens in the middle, and vine ripened plants on the bottom typically. But you can, sometimes people will mix that up a little bit, but I like to put the heavier plants on the bottom. This is a tower garden home. It's designed primarily for indoor growing of greens and herbs. It's smaller, it's more streamlined version. It's easier to tuck into a corner or use for small spaces such as apartment living. The reservoir holds 13 gallons and it's about 2 square feet of space required. It stands 58 inches tall and holds up to 32 plants. It comes with the state-of-the-art LED grow lights, which I had mentioned are highly energy efficient. It doesn't take a lot of power to power a tower. I get that question a lot. The last comparison I saw was equivalent to a string of Christmas lights, which is not very much. Wheels are built right in and locked. So this is kind of like an all-in-one package versus the other one where you can buy a base unit and add accessories. And again, this is just for indoor growing. So gardening with the tower can be a lot of fun, especially for kids. And here's some more pictures of my daughter enjoying the tower. On the left is a picture of her harvesting greens for a dinner salad. This is during the winter when we brought our tower indoors. We like to keep ours in our kitchen during the winter, so it's close and easy to harvest for meals. But you really can keep it in any room, and some people even grow in their basements. My daughter loves selecting a variety of greens. Rainbow chard is actually one of her favorites. How many 10-year-olds do you guys know that eat rainbow chard? It tastes that good. Eating from the tower has helped actually redefine her taste buds and has given her an opportunity to make better choices. Also, kids like to eat what they grow, so they're more likely to experiment and try new things. And this is really especially important for picky eaters. On the right, she's having some fun with one of her friends. They harvested cucumbers for lunch and decided to pose for a picture making a tea for tower out of the cucumbers. That was their idea, not mine. My daughter loves to show friends her tower. They harvest together, they make salads in a jar, healthy snacks. Her friends love seeing what we're growing. They often experiment trying new foods that they wouldn't normally eat, and their parents are thrilled when they hear this. Here are some additional pictures of different tower harvests. As I mentioned before, the produce is picked ripe. It's very nutritious. We like to call it tower to table. No more produce wilting or wasted in the fridge. It always bothered me if I didn't use all the produce that I bought at the store before it wilted or rotted. I'm sure some of you have experienced this. Here, it's ready for you to pick and eat when you need it. The taste is fresh, and you can really taste the difference. For example, I am not a fan of kale, but I will eat it off the tower because it's that fresh. Now I want to switch gears a little bit and focus on how towers are an environmentally friendly choice. But before I do that, it's important to know some of the environmental trends that are happening. So the quality and nutrient density of our food is on the decline. There's a quote I like from the Bionutrient Food Association and states that the problem is we live in a world where natural foods can be nutrient poor. Even organic and local foods can be low in nutrition depending on the growing practices, season, and seed, end quote. So experts in the field have stated that our food now has less than 1/3 of the nutrient density it had in pre-World War II, which is absolutely crazy. So you could think you're eating the right amount of fruits and vegetables in your diet, but if it's not nutrient dense enough, are you really? Are you consuming enough whole food nutrition? There is a shortage of water on 1/3 of the planet. Environmental toxins are increasing. Erosion and pollution has affected much of the high quality food producing land. This is why I love tower gardens so much. They really are an earth friendly choice. They leave a smaller carbon footprint because we are virtually eliminating shipping and storage. It is truly tower to table. It uses 10% of the land and water of traditional farming because it's a vertical design. And this is particularly important where there are areas of water shortage or drought. I had a friend out in California during a drought, and her soil garden couldn't sustain it because of the water shortage, but she could grow on the tower. Due to its closed loop system technology, it recycles 100% of its nutrients and water. It reduces the need for pesticides and herbicides. The pH balanced minerals and plant nutrients in the tower tonic produce strong, healthy plants, and they can better protect themselves from plant pests and disease without pesticides. It's safe for kids to touch and eat right off the tower. The plants are growing vertically up off the ground, away from rodents and other pests that you would normally find in a garden. Also, due to the fact that towers are mobile on wheels, it can also save produce during inclement weather like high winds. My friend lives in California, the same friend, with strong, I think they're called Santa Ana winds. Am I correct? Santa Ana? I always say the wrong thing. Her traditional soil garden sometimes gets burned out from the hot winds, but with the tower, she can tuck it away and protect it when needed since it's on wheels. So where can we use towers? Well, they can be used all over: homes, schools, restaurants, airports, libraries, and so many more locations. This is a picture of Kona Greens, Hawaii's first tower garden farm. Look at how many gardens they fit in such a small space since they're growing vertically. Isn't that amazing? Towers can also be used in restaurants. Above is a picture, we talked about this before, a picture of Gallo Green Restaurant in Manhattan. The rooftop tower gardens are supplying the restaurant with fresh produce. I just think that's such a beautiful picture. This is a picture of Tower Farm at Chicago O'Hare International Airport. I'm not sure if any of you have seen it. They grow up to 1,100 plants at once, and yields from these crops are used for various in-airport restaurants. These pictures show how towers can be used in schools as a wonderful educational tool. And now with so many more families homeschooling, this is a great option to teach children at home as well. My daughter is at home now, and we've been using our tower as an educational tool, incorporating it into home math, science, literary lessons, nutrition education. Kids love to be involved in the entire process, from deciding which plants to grow, to planting the seeds, checking the pH, adding the water and nutrients, and harvesting the plants. And they are truly amazed at how fast the plants grow, and they take pride in the food they grow. So towers are a great teaching tool. These are 6 reasons that I do love them as a teaching tool. You'll grow more in less time with fewer resources. You can grow right inside the classroom. You'll have less mess because there's no soil. You can move it wherever learning is happening. With the dolly, you can wheel it from the tower from classroom to cafeteria to playground, pretty much anywhere where the students are. You also get free access to lesson plans, including a full curriculum from kindergarten all the way up through high school. There are 30, for any of those teachers out there, 30 CCSS and NGSS aligned lesson plans and learning materials, which makes incorporating Tower Garden into a school's curriculum easy. You'll also get growing support. The Tower Garden website is packed full of useful information, including grow guides and answers to frequently asked questions. Plus, you get customer support with either a personal representative or our tower support line. One teacher in the Bronx named Stephen Ritz ran the idea of teaching his students how to grow their own food. And he said that they make a great classroom growing system because they're safe, compact, and soilless. Many schools use them already to engage students and bring the lesson plans alive. While they witness firsthand how plants grow, they also learn the importance of sustainability, healthy eating, and giving back to their community. So Stephen further explains that tower gardens are the most cost-effective school garden aligned to academic outcomes that you could ever imagine. They're about so much more than growing healthy outcomes and growing healthy fruits and vegetables. It's about the science, as I said before, the math, the record keeping, the data, the prediction, the analysis, and then there's the eating. He said when you expand their palates, you expand their vocabulary and their mind, which I love. So let's take just a few more minutes before I introduce my other guests. Let's just take a look at this video by Stephen Ritz about growing in schools.
Out of darkness came the most incredible light, and the legacy of my son and countless other students that I've had to bury far too young, which will far exceed their time on this earth. We are the poorest congressional district in America. That's an economic reality. You have 45,000 people living within 8 square blocks of each other, and healthy, fresh food is not available. For so many, food is the problem. But for all of us, food is the answer. in a 100-year-old building, 4 stories up. I am wrapping schools, teachers, and children around the garden. Kids can't wait to see what's growing. They can't wait to measure what's growing. They can't wait to eat what's growing and cook what's growing and grow more and talk about it and share it with their family, friends, and colleagues and integrate it into their classroom work. You see kids who are happier and healthier. You can't help but be caught up with that. We grow food in school, we track it, we measure it, we date it. And if you expand their palates and their vocabularies, you expand their mind. This work is about giving life, creating life, perpetuating life. We are a whole school approach to education rooted in health, wellness, and mindfulness. The work is definitely evolving, and we are growing something greater. I go from a box to a garden in 45 minutes. My classroom is hosting people from 60 countries around the world. 6 continents. How cool is that? Our grades are up, our attendance is up, our school performance is up. You put a seed in a child's hand and you're promising them that's a plant. And they bet on that. So these children are betting on their future. Of all the plants I've grown, the greatest drop has been my students themselves. That's cool.
I hope you enjoyed that. So just to wrap up my part of the presentation, here are just some examples of what you'd find on the website for educational resources, such as a teacher's guide. These are lesson plans for pre-K. You can see literacy, math, science, K through 1, and then it just continues. There's grades 2 through 3, 2 and up, 4, 5. You can see how this goes all the way through high school, and you can kind of pick what you want to teach. And here are some examples when you click and open what you find on the website. On the left is counting on a garden for pre-K with instructions to cut it apart and make it into a booklet that kids can color. And on the right are garden word problems for grades 4 and 5. For some other examples of science lessons you would find on the website, the left is a science journal page for grades 2 to 3 with instructions on how to use the page. Here, students write about and draw a plant that they're observing, and then the child would predict what changes the plant would undergo. Finally, the child would pick another plant and compare the two. On the right, you see the first page of a science pigment lesson for grades 7 and up, so more advanced, obviously. This is an example of how to incorporate tower gardens into language arts. This is a writing prompt lesson plan for grades 2 to 3, asking kids to write about what it means to harvest plants and what the difference is between a seed and a seedling. Vocabulary and writing are also incorporated when learning agricultural terms and proper names for veggies. And that is it for my part. I'll put this slide up later so you can see my information if you need to get in touch with me. But now I would like to introduce, I'm going to stop my share in a second. I'd like to introduce my dear friend and colleague, Jolena Stewart. She is a business owner of Love Energy Nature skincare line, as well as a wife and mom of 2 young girls. She lives in the Poconos, and she has been growing on the Tower Garden for over a year now. Jolena, can you please share with our audience how growing on the tower has personally impacted you and your family, and also touch upon the impact it's had on your business?
Okay, hi everyone.
Where is she? Where do we see you?
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
We can hear
Okay.
you, Jolena.
Can you see me?
No, your video isn't on for some reason.
Oh. Let's see. Can you see me now?
No. So we could do one of 2 things, Jen. If you want, Jolena, you might have to, oh, there you are. Guess what? Jolena, you're on.
There we go. Okay. So yes, I am a mom of 2 small girls. I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, and they are very opinionated about what they will and will not eat, but it's not in the way that you would typically think. because I have been working on focusing on wellness and nutrition, they are very concerned with making sure that they're eating healthy. Like today, for example, my daughter was doing her schoolwork and she out of the blue asked me, do you think I'm getting enough fruits and vegetables? And I'm looking over here like, I think so. And she's like, I don't know. I think we can do a little bit better. So they are very concerned with making sure that they're healthy and they're eating their fruits and vegetables. And one thing that I was thinking about is that most kids probably find vegetables that not appealing because it's foreign. They only see it in the grocery store. They don't know where it's coming from. They see it cooked and it might not always look appealing. And it can be a turnoff because it's foreign to them. So having these fruits and vegetables and herbs in my home growing, it's fun to them. They've seen it come from a seed and into a plant and onto their plate. And it encourages them and it brings them. That's actually my tower garden going right now. It's the water pump is on and it's watering my roots. So yeah, my kids, they really, really enjoy it. Every day we wake up and we look for new flowers, we look for new growth. And surprisingly, we can find stuff every day. And it's so much fun, not just for them, but for me as well. I grew up in New York City. I am a real city girl. I did not remember anything about growing or plants. I've always been averse to gardening because I have a black thumb. I'm one of those people that can kill a succulent or a cactus or anything that you shouldn't be able to kill. But because of the tower garden, I've been able to grow all these amazing foods and herbs and vegetables. And it's been, like I said, a learning experience for me because I forgot that so a lot of the vegetables, some tomatoes, things, they come from flowers. So when I started growing these plants, I was confused as to why these flowers were popping up. And so it was a learning experience for me and my kids. It's so much fun. And my kids are flourishing because of it. A few years ago, I started a skincare company. I started this company because my daughter and I, we both have eczema, and it was very difficult for me to find products, commercial products that didn't have scary ingredient labels and weren't going to trigger flare-ups for our skin. We don't have the same allergies, so it was very hard for me to find products that I could find that we could both use comfortably. So I started creating my own, and then that evolved into a business. But as I started sourcing ingredients for my products, I knew instinctively that I had to find companies that would tell me about how my herbs were grown. And I could only find one supplier that did that. And it made me very uncomfortable because that one supplier had a very limited selection of items. So I knew that I had to start growing my own herbs. But like I had mentioned before, I was never good at gardening and I struggled to keep the most basic plants alive. So the tower garden solved all those issues for me. I've been able to incorporate so many different things into my products. And not only am I incorporating these amazing things, and it's definitely a source of creative inspiration, but I also know that I'm creating nutrient-dense products because of this. I know that I'm adding nutrients into my skin that needs it, and my skin is lacking in so many things, and I feel like I'm healing myself from the outside in, from the inside out, in all these different ways. So this tower garden has been a game changer for my family, my life, my business, and I'm just grateful.
Thank you so much, Jolena, for sharing. That's beautiful. So now we're going to turn to another friend of mine, my dear friend and business partner, Chris-Ann Sapkowski. I want to make sure I say this right, she is a certified holistic wellness coach. She created her own wellness business called Be Well with Chris-Ann, which incorporates coaching, sustainable growth, meal planning, cooking classes, nutritional support, and so much more. She lives in Mamaroneck, New York. She's the wife and mom of 6 children and 3 grandchildren. So, Chrisanne, I know you've helped place towers in restaurants. Can you please explain what that experience was like? And is that a sustainable option for the restaurants?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be with everyone. I love putting tower gardens in restaurants. It really is a wonderful thing. I mean, Jennifer, you mentioned before during your talk that, it's people say farm to table, but guess what? Restaurants can say tower to table because literally it's being grown right in the restaurant, and they can have them indoors, they can have them outdoors on a nice outdoor patio, and they're literally picking off of the tower and in the kitchen using whatever they're growing, and it goes right on the table to their customers. Their customers are getting the freshest, most high quality ingredients because it's grown right there, and they're freshly harvested and locally grown. The other really great thing about the tower garden in restaurants is that there's no transportation, there's no transit, so it's not coming from a farm and being transported over to a store or to the restaurant. There's no carbon emissions from this because there's no transit time, so it's picked right on site. And the other thing that a lot of the restaurants I find is that it's a real conversation piece as well. And it's just really pretty to have. And people love to look at it. And it stirs up conversation between customers and the chefs and the owners of the restaurant. What are they growing? How are they incorporating into their, menus? And the water is recyclable. So that's really great too. So it's been very rewarding to put these tower gardens into restaurants.
Unmute myself. Thank you. Can you also touch upon for a minute, and I know you also teach cooking classes to help inspire healthy living. How do you incorporate your towers into those classes?
Oh, I also love to have whatever I'm doing for my cooking classes. I love to have something in the menu that I plan with the tower. So I am having a class tomorrow evening, and there are a few recipes that I'm using some of the herbs that I'm growing on here. If you can see, it's very bright, but I wanted to have the lights on so you all can see what I'm growing. But I do have basil, oregano, rosemary, sage is growing like crazy. I love to burn sage, so I make my own sage little sticks, and I have chives growing. So one of my recipes tomorrow night has some of the herbs in it, and then I am growing some beautiful violas, and I have pansies that I just started. It's a brand new seedling that I put in a couple of weeks ago. I do love to incorporate the edible flowers in any of my dishes and most of my cocktails. I'm always throwing, a little sprig of rosemary or an edible flower on top, and it just makes it look beautiful. So, and I love that my students can also learn about the tower garden too.
So that's awesome. So you mentioned the edible flowers. I love seeing pictures on Facebook of all the beautiful dishes you make, and it just makes it so much more fun to eat healthy when something looks beautiful, right? And you're just the master of that. Mm-hmm. My last question, you kind of answered it with the edible flowers, but what other unique things have you grown on your tower?
Oh my goodness, there's been so many. I grew Japanese eggplants last summer, I believe, and the summer before, and they're just the long purple eggplants. And I had a picture on my social media with me holding two of them like they were my samurai swords, but they're just so different. And it really is gorgeous to look at how things grow. And those were really pretty and very unique to grow. I also grow edamame, and we love to eat edamame. And it was very rewarding to grow those because some people don't really think about growing that themselves, but we did. And then I I guess just even growing Brussels sprouts. I mean, I had them growing that my tower, I mean, I'm here in New York, my tower garden was outside until November. And I remember those were like the last things that I had growing on the tower because I was just waiting, and they were huge and beautiful. And we took them off and we ate them, and everything is just so fresh. And I mean, you really can't get any fresher than that, right? Because you're picking it right off of there.
Absolutely. And your tower is just beautiful. It's just
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Look at those flowers. What are those purple flowers?
Those are violas.
Wow,
So
those
I
are
usually
beautiful.
grow a couple of those are the yellow and the purple. Sometimes there's purple on purple. So there's different varieties that I do. And I just put in the blue pansies. I've had, you know, cornflowers, like very different type of flower, and they're all edible. So like you said, I mean, sometimes everybody says it looks too pretty to eat, but there's just something about putting the flowers on something that, I mean, even my breakfast smoothie, I mean, simple as that, just putting a nice little marigold or, you know, a viola on the top just makes it look so beautiful.
Yeah, you are truly a food artist. She is a food artist. Thank you so much, Krisanne, for sharing. So now I wanted to open it up for questions. Is that okay, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage anybody, you know, we're a small, intimate group here. So if anybody does have a question, feel free to either just come off of mute, or if you want to put your question in the chat box, we'll be happy to read those off.
Do you want to call on people, or and then let me know? Is that easiest for?
Yeah, or yeah, because I some people are spread out, so you could do you could do a couple things. So Dominique, I see you have a question. Yep, I was going to say use the hand raising feature, which is always the best down at the bottom where you see reactions. So Dominique, feel free to, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, come off of mute and ask your question.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much for hosting this Zoom call. I was so happy to see this because the school in which I'm working now, we utilize a ton of the tower gardens. I actually teach hydroponics. So this is the first year. I'm a first year teacher. So I'm teaching hydroponics and in this virtual environment. So I actually haven't been in school for months to actually use the equipment and get that hands-on experience. So of course there's no textbook, no equipment. So I've been trying my hardest to just create curriculum. So so in the beginning of this session, it was mentioned that there are a lot of lesson plans on the website, which is amazing. I was actually just looking at all of them and they are so, I can't even describe how incredibly helpful that this is because right now we're actually focusing on light treatments and different spectrums and how the plant reacts. So this is fantastic. I just want to say a huge thank you for this. But as I am going through the lessons, again, a lot of really great content. Is there a resource? You have so many questions and so many objectives and really beautiful stuff here, but I'm having some trouble with when it comes to having all of these answers. Is there an area where like you have like a separate document with all of the findings and research, or is that just not included with the lessons, or what does that look like?
I do not know the answer to that question. I'm going to see if my friend that's joining us, Danielle, knows the answer to that. Danielle, do you know? Or can we get back to Dominique with that answer? Is she still here?
Danielle, for some reason you're muted for some reason.
I'm gonna type.
Is there a volume on your headphones?
She said she's going to type. She's going to type that answer. That's a great question, Dominique. And Danielle has placed a lot of towers in schools, so she will be able to answer that question well. So we'll wait for her response.
Sure. While Danielle's doing that, Mindy, do you want to come off of mute and ask your question?
Hi, I'm also a really bad gardener. And so I just started doing my own container gardening on my deck. But also I was like fascinated with the way pollination works. So the fact that you were mentioning that the tower can come inside how does pollination work if we're not utilizing the pollinators of insects? So how does that work?
Yeah, we're not using the bees. So, greens and herbs, obviously you can grow without, but if you wanted to do any of the flowering plants, you would hand pollinate. It's a pretty simple procedure, just using a Q-tip or paintbrush, painting from the male to female flower. So there is a little bit of an extra step if you want to grow some of those flowering produce indoors. I personally am a little lazy, so I don't grow those inside, but most of my friends and customers do. I tend to grow those outdoors because I have the bees to help me, but it's just one more step you have to do, and it's pretty simple.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Let's see if Danielle
Erica.
answered that question. Did Danielle answer?
Yes, Danielle wrote, the teacher resources that are available have the full lesson plans for the teacher and educator, in addition to the lesson plans and handouts for the students, but we can connect one-on-one to further support what you're looking for. All right.
Yeah, and you can reach out to me, Dominique, and or anyone on this call can reach out to me, and I can connect you with the appropriate person, whether the person who invited you to the event, I'll connect you with the appropriate person.
Sure. And Dominique, if you want to drop your email maybe in the chat, this way we all have it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we can reach out to you. That's a great way to do it.
So Erica, I see Erica has a really great question. Where Angie's doing a lot of work lately with environmental justice and equity. So Erica, would you like to come off of mute and ask your question?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hi, Erica.
I'm just wondering how much, what's the regular cost of one of these tower gardens, and how would a school, like a school in an urban population, potentially get a grant or a scholarship, or potentially, I work for a charter school, yet we have a very low amount of funds, and we're outdoor based, so we would really benefit from a tower garden. So how would schools approach that?
Yeah, you can apply for grants for schools, and we can talk, if you're interested in pursuing that, we could talk more offline with Danielle as well. So if you want to type your email in the chat as well, we can definitely talk to you offline about that. But yes, you can apply for grants. In terms of cost, depends on which one you want to get. The Flex, just the basic unit, if you wanted to just grow outdoors without the accessories, would be $52 a month for 12 months. So it comes out to about $600 a year. If you add accessories, grow lights, and different things, the price does go up. It can go up to about $80 to $90 a month, depending if you get the grow lights and the grow cage and the dolly. I have the whole shebang, so mine was probably about $80 to $90 a month for those 12 months. And usually people pay in installments. Schools often pay it in full. They can do that as well. And then for the home, which is the kind of all-in-one package, that's approximately $80 a month for the 12 months. $80 a month and then you have it paid off and you own it. Because it's all included. It's only for indoors, so it comes with the grow lights and everything. But some people opt to only grow outside, and then you can just get the base unit, which is about $52 a month. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. I put my email too, if you don't mind just writing that down, and we can.
Yeah, I am happy. I'll reach out to Danielle, and I will reach out to you and Dominique. So yeah, we're happy to talk further.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. I see that Richard had a question that was answered. So he asked how long it took to grow and harvest the Brussels sprouts. And Chris Ann said it was about 6 weeks, if remembering correctly. The longer time they grew, the bigger they were, and they were delish. Well, that's a good endorsement. Brussels sprouts.
Oh, Danielle also put in the chat for school, the total here she wrote for the school total cost is $1,300. One tower for a school with every single thing that they would need would be that. And then she wrote, actually, school might be more like $1,100. So it's $1,100, Danielle. The $1,100 goes more along with what I was talking about, which is about $90 a month. So I'm sorry, I corrected myself. It's about $1,100 for a school.
Laura, I see your hand is up. So
yes, my hand is raised. I made it. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Laura.
I was a little late, but
That's
great
okay.
program. I was just going to say, you really upped your game.
Oh, yeah? Oh, thank you.
With your presenters and some new ideas and things. So that's wonderful. It's good to see it expanding like that.
And you gave me an hour to talk, so I wanted to give you some good content.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, I was particularly interested in the restaurant idea, which was wonderful. But I did want to chime in on two things about the educational aspect, if you don't mind. One is, of course, this would make a great grant opportunity because we have climate change coming up in our future standards. And with understanding photosynthesis and plant life and carbon dioxide absorption and all kinds of aspects of that, it might actually warrant a pretty good grant opportunity with science classes or maybe elementary schools and things like that. So that's a really, that's probably the most common way to get funding for different projects and stuff. So I could look into some grants that might actually fit into your product, and I'll send that to you.
That would be amazing.
So you have that information for teachers. You can say, well, here are some grants, environmental grants that are out there. So I can do that. And the other thing was it Dominique did the hydroponics, had a hydroponics question for schools. My last couple of years of teaching, I did a hydroponics with my students, and we didn't have the wonderful tower gardens. We had big bins with the water in them and filtration systems and things like that. But the plants all grew with water. But what we did was we put them in the library. And then we were able to incorporate not only the whole school, because every kid that came in to check out a book or did a library program with their class saw the hydroponics program, but also the librarian, who was absolutely interested in it, was able to provide all the resources to answer a lot of those questions that you were looking at in your resources for your lesson plans and stuff. So just wanted to give you those tips. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Actually, I have a question as well, piggybacking off of a little bit of what Laura was saying.
Yeah.
Are you aware of, and either you or any of your presenters can jump in, any partnerships that are actually going on between restaurants and schools using the tower gardens as both, nutritional education or anything like that?
I don't know the answer to that, if restaurants and schools are affiliated. Do you, Danielle?
I'm not even sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. We can find out.
We can certainly find out and get back to you.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting connection. Yeah.
It would be.
I know that some schools are using it, that some schools have permission where kids can grow and eat off of it. So they're eating off of it. Some kids are even bringing it home. With COVID, things may have changed temporarily, but in terms of that connection with the restaurants, I do not know. I don't know if that exists, but I can definitely look into and find out.
That's true. And I also forget the crazy time we're in, where it's hard to do some of those partnerships right now, but maybe, thinking forward.
Yeah, we forgot about COVID for a minute.
All right.
Be creative. That's all you got to do is be creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
Janie, I see you have a question. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Actually, I had a comment. I want to say that when Stephen Ritz first started working with his students, they actually had a program that his students were providing food to some of the local restaurants in their neighborhood.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, very cool. Thanks, Janie.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Janie. In the city, yeah, probably.
All right. So I'm looking at the time. If anybody has any final question, I'm going to give you another 10 seconds to speak up.
And I'll just share, if no one has questions, I'll just share my screen one more time to have my info in case anyone wants to get in contact with me, and I can connect you with whoever either invited you or the person to answer your question.
I'm gonna give a quick shout out to your mom and dad, because I see they're on here, and it's been a while since I've seen them. So
they love that. Yeah, I've got my mom and dad. My uncle Michael's here too. It's family support.
All right. So why don't you share your contact information, And,
Okay,
you
so
know,
here, can everyone see it?
yep, it's up there.
So these are just to thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. It was just such a pleasure to have you, and thanks for all the questions, and we will make sure to get back to the people we promised. But this is my email and my Tower Garden website. So you can reach out to me or the person who invited you to the event. These are some final pictures of my daughter and my husband harvesting from my tower, and some of the things, watermelon, cucumbers, and peppers that I grew. So
Jay Raskus is your maiden name.
my dad likes to say Raskus. People are good. I need to change my email. Yes, I still have AOL. Who knows?
You don't have to change anything, just so people know.
Well, thank you, Mike, for the opportunity. Thank you, Laura, for helping, for the opportunity and helping to organize. I appreciate it for everyone being here. I hope you all have
Thank
a lovely
you.
weekend.
Yeah. And thank you also to Jolena and Chris Ann and Danielle for sharing some of your insights and wisdoms. And again, we're going to post
Thank
this up
you.
on our YouTube channel. So it'll be there for everyone to see. And, you know, we'll also share some of the information from the chat as well. So again, everybody, I hope you stay dry and warm. It's a fun time in Jersey in March and April. You know, hopefully you'll contact them and get growing indoors or outdoors soon.
And also remember that this is the first of several Angie Zooms to follow. So keep on to the Angie website to get the other ones that are coming up. And Jennifer, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, Laura.
Good job.
Good night, everybody.
Okay. Have a pleasant evening.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.